Alright guys, welcome back to today's video. In today's video, we're looking at the control of the US Senate for 2024. Now, this control of the US Senate is obviously going to be extremely important for 2024, regardless of whichever party is in control, because legislation being passed through can either be averted or can continue depending on which party is in power, and the US Senate will obviously be very important for that reason. Let's take a look here at our current map and see who's in the lead right now. Currently in the US Senate, the Democrats have a lead by just two seats here. The Democrats have a total of 51 seats, and the Republicans have 49 seats. Now, let's say Joe Biden were to win re-election in 2024. The Democrats could afford, let's say, losing one seat, and they would still have a majority. The reason why is because Vice President Kamala Harris is acting as the president of the Senate. So if we were to have a tie, then Kamala Harris would come in as the president of the Senate and break a tie, most likely in favor of the Democrats. Again, anything could happen. She might vote in favor of the Republicans, but that would be very rare in modern political history. So let's take a look here at our current map here as of, okay, so our current map here as of with regards to the 2024 election with regards to the seats that are open. Now you have to understand this in order to kind of understand where we're headed. With every U.S. Senate election, we have first of all 100 senators in the U.S. Senate. Only about 33 or 34 of them actually run for re-election every 2 years. That is because a term in the Senate is 6 years. But we have midterm elections every 2 years. So if we divide three into 100, you get either 33 or 34. For the 2024 election, we have 34 seats up for grabs. So right now, the seats that are not up for grabs, which means that the election was either in 2020 or in 2022, they're 28 and 38. So that obviously means that you have just 34 seats left up for grabs if you add these two numbers up and then subtract from 100. So the seats that are currently shaded in this color right here are the seats that are going to be up for grabs in 2024. So let's take a look here at exactly where we're headed with regards to these seats. So first of all, we have several safe seats. Safe seats, obviously, the seats that are extremely Democrat or Republican, and that will be extremely crucial for either side to take with regards to 2024 and forward. Okay, so let's take a look here at the 10 most important seats that again are kind of going to kind of be swing states with regards to where we are headed here. So we're going to take a look at this here, right here. Let's go to right here to the top. The 10 Senate seats that are most likely to flip in 2024. We're going to take a look at each of these Senate seats and then take a look at whichever ones are the most closest here. So let's start with our first seat here in West Virginia with incumbent Democrat Senator Joe Manchin. So Joe Manchin, obviously, he carried the state in 2018. It's a state which Trump carried by 39 points in 2020. He is kind of on the moderate side of the Democratic Party, which explains why he's in which is why he's in a state which Trump won by a big margin. But let's take a look at the polls for where he is headed in. So this is Manchin. He's obviously the incumbent. If he gets reelected, I believe this will be his third term if he gets reelected. But as you can see in the polls here, again, the ones on the side, these are possible Republicans nominees. So you have Justice and Mooney and Morsi. So those are possible nominees for the Republican side. So three possible nominees as of that the media considers as being the most important. But we have the Republicans here ahead by six, Manchin here ahead by four if Mooney is the nominee. Now, West Virginians obviously don't like Mooney, considering the fact that he is kind of lower in the polls when you consider him with Manchin. Although with other Republicans such as Justice, um, Manchin does do a lot worse. So it really depends on who the Republican nominee is. Although I doubt that Manchin can really secure a good seat. I think that he will be averted, and I think that he will not win re-election. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and give West Virginia as being tilt for the Republicans. I think the Republicans can carry that state. And let's just take a look here at kind of a political forecast of where this is all heading here. With regards to this is a Cook consensus here with regards to this here with regards to the election. You obviously have some of them here now. I'm going to be very skeptical about several of these seats here. These are seats that I'm extremely skeptical about. But these are kind of some of the more safe seats, excluding Nevada, of course. Wisconsin is obviously being excluded. Texas and Florida obviously excluded. But these are the states which I think will go to either candidate in a very big margin here. So let's just go and update those again, just because I believe that they are much more safe for either party here with regards to 2024. And looking forward here, Hawaii obviously will go to the Democrats. Extremely liberal state there. North Dakota and Nebraska, they're going to the Republicans there. But moving on here to some other states here besides West Virginia. We're going into Montana here. Montana is another state which is going to be extremely close here. Let's take a look here at some polling here from the state of Montana. So let's see here. There's some other polls up here in the front with regards to the general election. Let's take a look here at with regards to the U.S. Senate for Montana. So the Republicans do seem to be doing good in a lot of these polls. Now, the incumbent Democrat seems to be doing good in some of these polls, but this is earlier in the year, so I'm not going to take a look at those polls so carefully. But as you can see, ignore these polls over here. These are for the general election Republican primary. But these are the polls that you really need to be looking on. Republicans seem to be doing pretty good with their possible nominees. So I'm going to go ahead and give the state of Montana as being tilt for the Republicans. I think tilt. And you might be wondering why Montana would be a tilt, considering the fact that Republicans generally do pretty well on the general election. It's just because obviously states have obviously two senators. So a senator may be representing an area within the state which may be which his constituents may be more left leaning in a state which overall on the general election may be more towards the right. So that's why, especially, you might be wondering why in a state like Montana, which is more Republican, or even in a state like Utah, for example, which is Utah is actually sorry. Let me put that back there. Utah is more Republican there, but for example, let me give another state here. A state like West Virginia, which Trump carries, why is it only tilt Republican? Well, the reason why is because different areas of the state may vote in different ways with regards to their constituents, because you obviously have two Republican senators there. So moving on here, let's go ahead. We looked at West Virginia and Montana. Let's go ahead and look at Ohio. Ohio is another extremely important state. Now, the senator who's running is an incumbent Democrat. He's obviously been running a couple times. But let's take a look here at where the polling is telling us. Again, I'd like to look at polling, and I think polling is extremely important when you're looking at these here. So obviously, you have the incumbent here. Brown is running as the incumbent. So Brown obviously is most likely favored to win his party's nomination. You have the different GOP candidates on the side. Brown does seem to be doing well with his constituents. Again, the constituents are extremely important. A state like Ohio is much more lean Republican in the general election, but his constituents really like him. So Brown is seeming to be doing pretty good, and this doesn't need really any much further explanation. He just seems to be doing better and better as. But this was taken a while ago. It was in July, although he does have a pretty sizable lead here. So I will end up giving the state of Ohio as being. I'll give it as being tilt for the Democrats, just tilt, just in case anything changes in between now and election day. Okay, so for our next state here, the next state which is extremely close, we have an incumbent Democrat here, Arizona. Arizona was obviously the state in which we had the former late war veteran John McCain, who won in Arizona by big margins. Although Arizona is becoming more of a blue state here with regards to the Senate races. So taking a look here, we obviously have an incumbent Sinema. So depending on how you want to pronounce her name there, but Arizona here. Sorry if I couldn't pronounce her name correctly, but let's take a look here at the polling here. She's obviously the incumbent, but let's take a look here. She seems to be doing pretty good in the polling. A lot of the polling, she seems to be doing pretty good. So I'm going to give it to her. Again, these are possible Republican candidates. I will give it to her with regards to the state of Arizona. So being tilt for the Republicans. Again, I'm trying to give it as being tilt because, especially with these close races, tilt Republican, tilt Democrat. Even if the Democrats or Republicans are doing good, I try to be as tilt as possible because, again, it's going to be extremely close. Next state here, Nevada, we have Roseanne here running. So for Nevada here, just going and looking here at this poll here. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on kind of their biography, which is listed there because, again, I want to keep this video kind of condensed and get into the main information that you want to know. So Roseanne is obviously ahead here and below. We don't have much polling data from this poll, although I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Democrats. I think the Democrats could do pretty well. I believe we're in Nevada, correct? So Nevada is a state which I think that she will do particularly well in. I think that she won it in the last. That Democrats did good in another race, the other senator for 2022, and I think that Nevada is a state which Democrats really need to continue the fight on. But I think that they will do pretty well on it. So next state here, Wisconsin. We obviously had a senator running in 2022 who ran for 3 terms. He already had served 2 terms before that. He got his third term by a narrow margin. Second term, he was able to win it by a narrow margin as well. But we have Baldwin here running for another term here, the incumbent Democrat. Obviously, it's the opposite Democrat since we just had a Republican just taking place there in 2022. Okay, so for the state of Wisconsin here, just taking a look here at the polls, we only have one poll here. Again, this is not totally accurate with regard to this, but Baldwin is up 1. Now that being said, for the state Supreme Court cases and all of that, Democrats have done pretty good in the state of Wisconsin with regards to the state Supreme Court and things like that. So I am going to give it to Baldwin. I think that Baldwin could keep this state up. Again, she's going to have to fight pretty hard, but I think that she will be able to keep that state there of Wisconsin. For the state of Michigan, we have an incumbent Democrat, although she will be retiring, so she will be replaced by a different Democrat after a primary has taken place. She's in the state of Michigan. So let's take a look here at some polls. Again, this is the most likely Democrat to get the party's nomination. That's when we only have one Democrat, although we have an array here of Republicans here who are vying for their party's nomination in the state of Michigan. So for the state of Michigan, Democrats seem to be doing pretty well there. Michigan obviously has been a Democratic stronghold. Donald Trump flipped it in 2016, although I think that the Democrats will do pretty good, especially in a extremely important Senate race here in the state here. So let's go ahead and give the state of Michigan as being tilt for the Democrats. Now we have the Republicans at 48 and Democrats at 38. So as I'm giving more and more Democrat seats, don't get excited if you're a Democrat, because understand that Democrats are far behind here with regards to this. And if you're a Republican, don't think that I'm being overly biased towards the Democrats. I'm just going off of polling data. Polling data is where I get most of my information from, and obviously looking at it based off of some previous trends that we had looked at. All right, so for our next state here, Pennsylvania, Bob Casey is an incumbent Democrat who is running again. Now, let's take a look here at some polls here from the state of Pennsylvania. Again, these are the extremely close states. For the states such as California and Washington, I'm not going to give too much of an explanation on that, considering the fact that most people know that they will be pretty safe, lean, or much more towards the Democratic Party or Republican Party. So Casey seems to be doing pretty good against McCormick Mastrino. He seems to be doing good against the 2 possible nominees for the Republican Party. So I will be giving the state of Pennsylvania to the Democrats. Again, John Fetterman ran in 2022. He was able to win against Dr. Oz. But again, that was a different set of constituents. But that is an important information just to be aware of there. Texas here. Now, Texas is obviously extremely Republican stronghold, although it has been going a lot less. Now, Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz, he won re-election in 2018 by a very surprisingly less than 3 points. He came 3 points short. Now, Ted Cruz, I mean, he is a Republican. He is, I guess you could say, a Trump Republican. But again, Texas is pretty, Republican. So again, he is doing good in the polls. I am going to give it to him just because of the fact that Texans would probably vote for him over a Democrat. But again, you have to be looking into the future here with regards to where we're headed here. Florida here, we have incumbent Rick Scott. Now, he won his previous elections under a point. He's kind of famous for that. Although the very big victories by Ron DeSantis and Marco Rubio in the 2022 midterms show that I think he can win in this state by a pretty big margin. And he does seem to be doing relatively well with regards to polling. So I will give that to him. And let me fill in some other safe states here for the Democrats. Let me just quickly fill those out. And let me go back here and to look at the prediction here with regards to where the prediction had us. Now, I obviously predicted these states which were very close, which they did not predict here in this segment here. But going back here, Republicans obviously will win this district as well within the state of Nebraska. So what we have there is that we basically have Republicans there at 51 seats and Democrats at 49. Now that's the exact opposite of what we have right now. Democrats at 51, sorry, Democrats at 51 and Republicans at 49. So this obviously is, sorry, yeah, okay, so I forgot to fill that out there. But extremely important race here, guys. It's 51 to 49. Again, so if Biden were to win re-election, that would mean Republicans would still have control. Again, what Democrats want to do is they really want to narrow down their focus. And where should Democrats narrow down their focus in? Well, if I were advising the Democratic Party right now, I would say narrow in your focus on states that you need to flip. Obviously, Ohio, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. You got to keep those in. Keep that in your safe. Keep that in your choke pop. But if they want to take control, or if they at least want to get a 50-50 tie, okay, in order, assuming Joe Biden wins re-election, if they want a 50-50, then again, if they were to get 50-50 and Joe Biden were to win the presidency and Democrats were to gain seats in the House, which is plausible, then you would have a very slim Republican margin with regards to these House, and then you would have a Democrat slim margin with just 50 seats. That would and also the presidency, that would be extremely good for Democrats, a lot better than the situation they had with Barack Obama in 2010, 2012, and 2014. But what they really need to do right now is they need to focus their attention on flipping a state like West Virginia. If they not flip it, keep it. Keep Joe Manchin in. Keep Joe Manchin in. He's not doing terribly in the polling. They need to go to those states which are tilt Republican, and they've got to flip it. Okay, my advice to them would be don't spend time in states like Florida. Don't even spend time in states like Texas. I mean, I don't know if the Republicans are going to lose there, but anyway, spend time in states like Montana and other states there. But guys, this is my final election prediction, guys. This is not my final, but this is election prediction year for the 2024 Senate race here, guys. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, comment down below, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video.